time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from the Golden Q in Hayes. The Golden Q, dining, billiards, and a whole lot more. 2 blocks east of campus. The Golden Q. If the game is on, we're open. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, and compassion, all right here. Adams Brown, strategic allies and CPAs. BTI, your John Deere dealer in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. The Taco Shop, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. G&L Tire and Automotive, complete automotive service and repair, and tires for all driving needs.
And a good Monday. Welcome into Tiger Talk. This is Gerard Wellbrock, joined by head football coach Chris Brown. We are live at the Golden Q in Hayes, 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. We'll be talking Fort Hays State football until 1 o'clock. We'd certainly invite you to come on out and join us for lunch today. If you got nothing going on, join us for lunch. And, of course, you can also win a free meal from the Golden Q. All you have to do is ask us a question. You can do it by going to the Fort Hays State Athletics website, fhsuathletics.com, and you go to that page, hover over Fan Zone, and when you do that, I'll have a drop-down menu, and there will be Tiger Talk. Click on that, submit your question, and if we use your question, you have a chance to win a $25 gift card from the Golden Q. In fact, we had a couple of questions that we'll get to a little bit later on in the program that were sent to us during the week, but you can participate during the show. You can also you can hit me up on Twitter at Gerard Wellbrock. Leave a question there, and we'll certainly pass it along to the coach, who I'd ask how you're doing. You've had a few days since Thursday night. Obviously, it was a frustrating game on Thursday, and we talked a lot last week, not a lot, but about week 1 to week 2 improvements. And as we just got ready to go on the air, you kind of reminded me that that's not very accurate because it didn't feel like your team did.
No, we didn't. I didn't think we played very well at all. I mean, there's times in that game that we look really, really good, offensively, defensively. I thought special teams was better this week, than it had been the previous week. But there's just things in there that we got to work on, and it's either guys not running the right routes or not running the right depth of routes. And of course, your quarterback always gets blamed, especially for interceptions and things like that, but sometimes it's the guys are not in the right spot where they're supposed to be or not expecting the ball. So he's going to be fine. He's a great kid, hard worker. He's committed. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing. We just got to get everybody around him on the same page. And then defensively we gave up a couple big plays, and we put him in some bad situations as well as an offense. But I wasn't very pleased with our performance. I really feel like that's a game, if you look at it, we gave him 28 points, and it's a totally different ball game if we take those things away.
Well, and that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, you look at the last 2 games, your first 2 games, the opponents have done good things, and yes, they're good teams, but you kind of feel that you kind of beaten yourself. I mean, you've lost to yourself. It's been some self-inflicted issues that have kind of led to 2 losses.
It has been, and especially this game especially was. They were. 2, had a pick 6 for a touchdown, had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. We throw another interception, it goes down to 17, and they score 1 play later. And, those are points. Those are easy points, and that's something we got to eliminate. Then, you look at the, Northwest game as well. It's, we're backed up all the time. Then we throw a couple of, interceptions and making, easy scores for the offense as well, the other offense as well. So right now it's self-inflicted wounds. We got to clean those things up, and we got to get better. And our kids got to get sharper, and maybe we just need to change the way we practice. It might be a little bit more intense this week than it has been in the past few weeks. But I still think, that there's a lot of potential there on the field. I think there's a lot of times you look at us, you go, man, that's a really good football team. But then there's obvious that the times where you're like, hey, they're not so good right now. But it's there. We just got to get it all on the same page at the same time.
And as we know in the MIAA, it's a fine line of success and not having success. And you see that. I mean, no team can do those things. Even Northwest Missouri State, Pittsburgh State, whoever you're talking about, you make those mistakes. You're not going to win in this league. Everybody's too good.
Yeah, you're not. And, you see it week in and week out, just a few mistakes here and there. And all those games that have been played the last 2 weeks, it's, there's some things that it changes the ball game. And, we need to start having things bounce our way because it has not the last 2 weeks. So hopefully we can start changing that this week and on to the next weeks. But I still think we're a very good team. I still think there's the chance for us to win out, but we just got to go one game at a time right now. And that's the only game we got to worry about right now. And that's thinking about Lincoln. But we'll get back to the grind this week and today and see what our kids are made of.
Would you give them time off this weekend? How did your team handle it, and how did you go about it after the game on Thursday?
Well, I didn't get any phone calls, so they must have handled it pretty well. So, we had some good talk. After the game, we had a good talk about the decisions they got to make this weekend and looking in the mirror and seeing, what can they do better as an individual, and getting more people involved, just in their game planning and in their, their film study and things like that. And what can they do better? Is it more time in the film room? Is it practicing harder? Is it at the weight room where you're not putting enough time in the weight room or whatever it might be? But what can you do to help make yourself better, not only and your team? And hopefully they did that. Of course, as coaches, you can reflect as well as what can I do better as a coach? Am I not hard enough on them? Am I getting too old and am I getting soft? Or don't I need to get back to my old young ways? But I feel like I should have to come to that point where I have to get irate and get on them all the time, because by this point, in our where this program is now, those guys got to take ownership of it and take care of some things on their own and hold each other accountable and be disciplined. And I just feel like that's where we should be. If I don't feel like that today at practice, I'll take the reins and we'll make things work.
I thought it was interesting after the game. One of your comments was, watching game film. Are we watching enough? Are we learning enough from it? And maybe not just the offensive line as a group, but then maybe the tight ends with them or the quarterbacks with the receivers and whatever it may be. Not just you and your position group, but maybe another position group that you have to work closely with. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, but that's how it works, right? You watch film together. You evaluate the defense. You throw our plays into that same evaluation, and you run them. Because a lot of teams, it's not a copycat stuff when you watch TV. When you watch these games. So, a lot of those plays that we have them called as our plays, and not exactly the same, but they're very similar. And it's those kids seeing how those kids are playing, or what coverage it might be or whatever it might be, and now say, okay, this is where I want you in this situation. And the only way you get that's by doing it together. And same with the O-line and tight ends. The tight ends got a lot. They got the run game and they got the pass game. So get with your O-line and talking about, okay, when we run this run play, here's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? And let's get on the same page. And it works hand in hand. But the great teams do that, and if we want to be great, we got to do things a lot better than what we have been.
Now the Tigers trying to get their first win. They'll be at home this Saturday, and the game is a go as of now with the Lincoln Blue Tigers. Of course, they had some COVID issues and did not play Northwest Missouri State on Thursday. We'll eventually get a preview look at the Blue Tigers, but we'll talk more Fort Hays State football as we move along. Tiger Talk is brought to you by the Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or fast delivery. It's the Taco Shop just east of campus on 8th Street. Of course, their number, 785-625-7114, or you can use the handy Taco Shop app. The Taco Shop, you've never had it so good. We're live at the Golden Q. It's Tiger Talk on this Monday, and we have more with head football coach Chris Brown right after the break here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction. Soto gets the carry, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Fort Hays State. 1-yard run for Adrian Soto, and the Tigers score on their first possession of the ball game. Yeah, that was a good start for the Tigers on Thursday night in St. Joe. Had that 7-0 lead. Obviously would not hold up. They lose 38-31 to the Griffins to start the year 0-2. Hey, before you hit the road, stop by G&L Tire and Automotive. Tires for all driving needs and budgets, plus complete automotive service and repair. And you always get a free estimate before any work is done. That's G&L Tire and Automotive just east of Maine. They're on the bricks in downtown Hays. Gerard Welbrock, head football coach Chris Brown Brown here on Tiger Talk. Fort Hays State hosting Lincoln University. The Blue Tigers come to town Saturday night. Fort Hays State coming off that loss. And it was, we talk about a frustrating game, but a great start. You force a 3-and-out. You get the ball. You drive down a 10-play scoring drive. Soto caps it off. And, boy, the way that thing started, thought, hey, it's going to be a good night for you guys.
Yeah, you did. We started off well. Defense, special teams really did a good job of pinning them deep, and then defense got a 3-and-out, and we get the ball back, go right down and score, and you're feeling pretty good about yourselves. Now you just got to continue doing those things, and it seemed like it just kind of fell apart after that. And then we know our kids on it. We got behind, and we kind of panicked a little bit. They hit the panic button, and we're a little stressed out, and you could see it in just their facial expressions, but it's football. Anything can happen at any given time, and I know that there was a chance that we could win that ball game, and we almost still did, towards the end. But we can't hit the panic button. You can win these games at any time, and it doesn't matter what the score is. We still had another half to go after that anyway, but I think we panicked a little bit too early.
How much of the youth, we've talked about, especially on the defensive side, but even the offense, there's some young players, maybe the sense that it was their first road game. It was a different environment, a hostile environment. Do you feel that played into a little bit of some of what you're saying there?
Maybe some. But still, when you get on your sideline with your fans, it was pretty quiet over on that side of the field, and it's just, it was different. We're on the road. It was a night game, so it was, we drove an hour that day to get to the game as well. But I thought everything that we did, lead them to that point, really had our young men prepared, to go into this game and win this game. We did more stuff on this road trip than we've ever had before, with walkthroughs at night and film, and then doing the same thing the next morning just to make sure they were all on the same page and knew exactly what we were doing, and just doing the film study with them too to kind of teach them, how we're trying to do these things. And then we've done that before, but just getting them more in tune with what we're doing. But I really don't know. I really can't put my finger on exactly what it was. We just got to bounce back and keep moving forward and get better.
When you do a walkthrough like that on a road trip, what do you normally do that? You go to a high school? How does that work?
Well, this time we just, where we ate our meals, at the hotel, we just pushed all the chairs back and all the tables, and it was just kind of a mini, like a little mini walkthrough. It wasn't the full go, but seeing guys, making sure they knew exactly what they're supposed to do and where they're supposed to be going, and just talking about different alignments and assignments and things like that. But you figure out wherever it is, all right? You just you use what you have in front of you, and you make the most of it.
Adrian Soto caught that touchdown, or had that touchdown run. He had another touchdown reception later in the ball game. We'll hear that highlight. But he just continues to play well. Now, we talked about him last week, a young man who got really one opportunity last year, 2 years ago, one carry in that big win at Northeastern, but just continues to improve.
He does. He just gets better and better each week. He's a weapon out of the backfield as well in our pass game. And, he's patient with the ball, in his hands. He lets the lineman set the blocks up, and he's got great vision, and he sees how the blocks are going to unfold in front of him. So, he just keeps continuing to get better week in and week out. And who knows, by the end of the season, heck, he might be our number one guy if he keeps doing what he's doing right now.
They come back, they answer with a long scoring drive of their own, and then the first turnover, and that was really part of the story. 4 turnovers, 24 of their 38 points off of turnovers. Obviously, it's tough to overcome, but after they scored, you gave them the ball back. But I thought it was a key point. You held them to a field goal. I think they moved it down to, the 3, but you never let them get into the end zone. And as bad as, wasn't going well, you're only down 10-7 at that point. That's it.
But that was a great job by our defense. We turned the ball over, and they did a good job of, not giving up, 7 points. And, hats off to them for that. And we're still in a great situation where it's only 10-7 now. We got a great opportunity to come back and win this game, at least take the lead at halftime as well.
Well, the Tigers were down 10-7 after one quarter, and then got the lead back. Started the second quarter. Hunter Budke had a monster game, I thought. We kind of have seen glimpses of that, but man, it just seemed like every time, every possession, you needed a big play. He was kind of there in the thick of things.
He's a very talented young man. When you look at him, he's got the size, he's got the build, he's got the speed, he's got the strength. He has it all, and I really think his best 2 games that he's ever played here at Fort Hays State really has these last 2 games. And and I just told him, I said, now the real thing is people know who you are now. Now they're going to be watching. Are you still going to be able to make these same type of plays? And that's going to tell us what type of player you truly are. But some of these catches he made in this game were phenomenal, and he was getting hit, and he still get up and go for the next one. And I mean, that one was a fingertip catch, which was amazing. I mean, not many people hold on to that ball, but he's done it. And he's also done well in the run game with his blocking too. So he's continued to get better week in and week out. And if he can build off of this, who knows what might happen with him.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I mean, obviously we see when a tight end or a receiver makes the catch, but it's the little things. Can you block in the run? Can you do all those things? And he appears to be. I obviously have a better grasp of this than us, but appears to be doing a good job in all that area. Just the total package.
Yeah, he is. Right now, I mean, there's still a few things in the run game that we need to work on, but I think that goes across the board with everybody. But he's doing the things that we needed him to do, and he's just. He wants to learn. He's eager to learn, and he listens, and and everything. Before you even get to film, he knows exactly what he's done wrong already because he's watched the film. Which is those are the kind of kids you need. You get in there and they kind of coach themselves, and he's done that. And if he can continue to building off what he's done right now, I mean he should be a first-team All-Conference guy by far.
Well, it was here the game slowed down, the light switch went on, whatever it was. What's been the difference? What has made this turnaround for him?
I think just, having that whole year of, with the COVID, and he was the guy, and he played a lot when Matt was here too, when, Matt would be injured. But I also think it's, Hayden Wiltfong right behind him, pushed him for that starting spot. And when you guys got guys competing for those spots, and we usually play with just one tight end, it's going to make that kid better. And, somebody will get left behind or somebody will get the job taken. And, right now he's fighting to keep that spot day in and day out.
Well, he's done a great job, had a big game. I know we heard some highlights from him, but he was really, really good for the Tigers, but they come up short with a final of 38-31. Tiger Talk is presented by the Hayes Orthopedic Institute. Expertise, technology, and compassion, all right here. The Hayes Orthopedic Institute, the official team physicians for Fort Hays State Athletics. We will take a break. More Tiger Talk with head coach Chris Brown right here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
There's a pass in the flat, caught by Butke, touchdown! Fort Hays State, Hunter Butke, the Beloit redshirt junior, his second career touchdown catch, and Fort Hays State is back on top. They lead 13-10 with 10:38 to go here in the second. Yeah, that capped off a 13-play drive, started late in the first quarter and went into the second quarter, put the Tigers up 14-10, and again, after the couple of mishaps, you felt pretty good about things as Fort Hays State was trying to crawl back into that football game. Tiger Talk is live at the Golden Q in Hayes. They've got the daily food and drink specials, so stop on by. Of course, all the big screens throughout the bar. It's the Golden Q, just 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. Gerard Wellbrock, Fort Hays State head football coach Chris Brown, talking about the Missouri Western loss last week and previewing a little bit later on the Lincoln Blue Tigers, who will be coming to town Saturday night to take on Fort Hays State at Lewis Field. Chance Fuller's kind of, I guess, up and down might be the way to do it, but we talked about it. Sometimes quarterback gets too much credit, doesn't get or takes too much blame, and I think some of the issues, he had turnovers, had some interceptions, led to points. Not all his fault. Do you feel he's pressing it all? I mean, I know a perfectionist might be too extreme, but I mean, he obviously takes a lot of pride in how he plays and plays the game the right way. At times, it just maybe feels like he's trying to do too much. Do you feel that's the case or not?
No, I mean, he prepares himself well enough that he gets himself, ready for every ball game. But, he does want things to be perfect, and he doesn't want to turn the ball over. Obviously no quarterback does. But, just some of those throws, I mean, week one, I mean, there's 8, 9 drop balls. I mean, that that really, hurt his completion percentage, and then balls that should be caught and easily caught. And then, this last game, this guy's not running the right route, or the depth of the route, kind of puts him in a bad spot too, where he's kind of sitting and waiting for him to get to where they need to be, and it's too late. Then he makes the throw. There's somebody there, so we're guy not knowing exactly what he's supposed to do. So, a little bit it's on him, but a lot of it's just on the guys around him to do their part, so he can get more comfortable and feel more comfortable in the game, because when you got guys not doing what they're supposed to as a quarterback, you're expecting things to be in a certain area, and they're not there. So things you got to improvise a little bit, and I think he's had to do that a little bit too much, more than what we need him to.
And that's the one thing about receiving is that, obviously running a route's important, but running the proper route, because that gives you leverage over the defensive back. And if you're not doing that, and like you said, it may seem little, but an extra yard or even an extra step on a route changes everything. And if the quarterback's expecting you at 5, 10, whatever it is, and you're at 11 or 12, it just throws the whole timing off.
The whole timing's off, and even not being able to get off the line of scrimmage. And we expect a little bit of that, but with the guys that we got and their size and their strength, we should be able to get off, any press coverage, with our guys and be able to get open. And it's just, those little things, you're running a 15-yard route when it's a 10. It's easy for safety to step in front of it and pick it. When you're the hot guy that we're going to throw to right now, because we know you can beat this receiver inside or this defender inside, and you don't do that, and then put your quarterback in a bad spot. He throws the ball, you're not looking, and it bounces off if he lands in somebody's hands. So, he had one throw where he just kind of threw it up because he didn't know. The other guys didn't know what they were supposed to do, and you don't really have a chance, you know what I mean? So he just kind of threw it up, and then they got the interception. But a lot of it goes hand in hand. He's got to make some better choices on some things, but a lot of it goes to the guys around him. They need to help him out.
Well, we've seen this receiving core has had success, so total faith in Coach McCray and his guys to get it figured out. But it is kind of one of those, it goes hand in hand, and they all have to be working together and to make things work out. Hey, we told you about Ask the Coach. You could still get involved, ask the coach a question, and a chance to win a gift certificate from the Golden Q. Again, all you have to do is go to the FHSU Athletics website, FHSUathletics.com, and on the top bar, look for Fan Zone. You hover over that. It'll give you a drop-down menu to Tiger Talk, and click on that, and you'll see it right there. Pretty self-explanatory. Type your message and your question, and you got a chance to win some free food here from the Golden Q. And we did have a couple of questions this week, and one of them, even though you're at home, that was your first road game on Thursday night. But the question, I think, kind of fitting with Lincoln coming to town on Saturday. Which road trip do you detest more? Maybe detest is hard. Which one do you dislike more? Lincoln at Jefferson City or Northeastern State at Tahlequah?
They're both pretty tough to get to. I'll tell you, my first year here when we played, I don't know if it was my first year here, but the first time we played at Tahlequah, we took the wrong way. We went through the 2-lane road where it was actually going through the rivers, and little things, streams, and so by far then that would have been it. Then we started staying in Tulsa, and that made our drive just a little bit easier. But those roads there they're tight, they're narrow.
They're not in great shape.
Yeah, and it's scary, So that one scares me the most. So I'd probably say Tahlequah would be the one, but Jeff City's not easy either, because every time we play them, Mizzou's playing or somebody's playing, so we have to get hotels in Kansas City and then finish the drive, the next day. So neither one's easy, but I'd by far say Tahlequah just because of the roads, and the tightness of them, and there's really no shoulder, and you never know what kind of bus driver you're going to get. They've done pretty well though, but that'd be probably the one.
Well, that is interesting, and then you're with Lincoln and Jefferson City. It is 30 miles from Columbia. So when the Tigers are at home, finding hotels, all those things that when they're on a road game, it's not as difficult. But when they're at home, it's challenging for all those things, all those little details that go into a road trip. There's a lot of it, planning meals and a lot of things that go into it.
There's so much. What time we're going to walk through the meet in the morning, and then practice, and then making sure all the kids know they talk to their professors, and we've sent emails to their professors, and then the trip itself. How are we going to get there? what time do we need to get there, what happens if the bus breaks down, or whatever it might be, because we've had a lot of those things happen as well. And it is. And then meeting times, and in the evenings and in the morning, like on these night games, I mean, usually you get kicked out of the hotel around 11, 12 o'clock, and what do you do for a few hours while you're getting ready to go to pregame meal, and they got to sit around in the lobby, and it's kind of hard on them, but you figure it out, and you live with it, and you deal with it, and it's just like traveling, I guess. I mean, I hate traveling. I'm one of those guys that's, my wife and kids will tell you too, I got to have a plan. It's just not, hey, we're going to go somewhere. There's got to be a plan of when we're going to be certain places, but I guess that's probably just the coach in me.
Yeah, family trips are a little bit different when you do this. As you, I mean, you're obviously with the team. We travel separately, but there's a definite routine to it and a time structure to it. So, yeah, family trips are a little bit, let's say challenging is probably a good way to put it. Who takes care? I mean, do you have a designated assistant? Obviously, Division I schools, that's all they do is take care of the travel coordination. How does that work with you guys?
Yeah, Coach McCray, our receivers coach. Everybody's got kind of different things that they got to take care of, and at our level, you don't have one or two guys that, like the D1s, that just they take care of the travel, the hotels, equipment. Like those D1s, those kids show up on game day and their equipment's already in their locker, ready to roll and ready to go. Where our kids throw them on the bus and they got to get it themselves and unload it themselves. But Coach McCray does a good job of getting our meals lined out and getting everything ready for us.
Another question we had, and you probably, because you've had Thursday night games, get to watch a little bit more, but you probably don't get to watch as much football as people might think. But Division I playoffs, 14 playoff, 18 playoff, or 16-team playoff. What do you like?
I'd like to at least see an 8. I think 16's kind of touches because of their season's so long already. It seems like they play 14, 15 games anyway. If you do
December.
Yeah, if you do a 16-team playoff, that's going to be hard on them. But I think at least an 8-team playoff, so we can get some different teams in there and see what happens, because you never know once you get in the playoffs what might happen.
I do find it interesting that a lot of talk about the expanded playoffs, and while they've already played such a rigorous schedule, I mean, the demand on the student athletes. Division II, if you're making a run, you're playing. You don't get bye weeks. I mean, you start when you start, and you're going to go all the way through without a bye week, unless you happen to, like Fort Hays did in 17, get the first round playoff bye. But that happens to 4 teams. Everybody else is playing straight through. Didn't seem to be a problem for the NAI Division II, Division III who do that. I just find it interesting when Division I talks about it. That just seems impossible for them to do that.
Yeah, it does, but it seems like they do have a lot of games that they do play, and I don't really pay too much attention to it because I'm always, I'm always in season myself, but. With us, if we start week 1 and we don't get the bye, it's 15 weeks, in a row where, and at least they have a bye week here and there, to kind of give their kids some time off and let them rest a little bit. But you still practice during those weeks as well. But, it is hard and it is demanding. It's once you start fall camp, it's a grind on these kids, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time, and trying to stay up on top of your classes and everything that you're trying to do. Eligibility is a big part of it, and the way you're eligible is if your classes are taken care of. So there's a lot of these kids is played and just trying to manage their social life and all those things like that, which they really don't really have one. Once you're a student athlete, once you get into the season. So I'm proud of the way our kids handle themselves, and they've done a good job. But yeah, I think an 18 playoff would be the best way to go. All
right, well, we'll see if they listen to Coach Brown. I would agree 18 would be fun, at least expanded for now. Tiger Talk brought to you by Golden Belt Bank, and they're here to make every story shine brighter. It's the way they do banking, one story at a time. Check them out at goldenbeltbank.com. We'll be back with more Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here! It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM. Do you believe in love? Glory days.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
First and 10 Tigers. Play action, full to throw. He's got a man open. Soto at the 50. Breaks a tackle, 40. Up the Tigers sideline, 30. To the 20. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Fort Hays State. Adrian Soto takes it all the way. And Fort Hays State is back on top. 23-17. Yeah, that was a great start to the, a crazy third quarter as it turned out, because you had a 75-yard interception return for a touchdown. So it's 17-10 halftime leads, now 17 all. And then you come right back. I think Birchfield had a big third down conversion, and then that 68-yard touchdown pass to Soto. Kind of felt like maybe you kind of got your hands around this thing and we're going to be back on track. But as we knew, it got even wackier in that third quarter.
Yeah, it did. It got even crazier. Then, I kind of thought at that point we were going to have things under control, and still things kind of fell apart a little bit in that third quarter. But that's a hard play to make that Soto just made. Caught the ball, got hit, completely stopped, and then still able to outrun, all those guys to the end zone. So that just kind of shows you there his speed that he does have, and his athleticism. He's a tremendous kid. He works hard every single day in practice, and he is one that does practice hard. No matter what the play is, whether he's getting the ball or not getting the ball, he does everything that he's supposed to do, and he does it right.
Well, he shows the speed, and he got the open field, and it was a foot race. And then you got a fumble recovery on the very next possession. You had the 7-point lead, got the ball back, and thought, hey, here we go. But you kind of alluded to it earlier, a bobbled pass. It ended up being a fumble that Chapa scooped up and ran back for a score. That tied it up at 24, and then it just seemed like everything just fell apart. They ended up running 2 offensive plays and had scored 28 points in that quarter. That's almost unheard of.
Man, that's not good, is it?
No.
Not for us. Now, if that was us, then I'd really like that.
Yeah, of course.
It happens the other way. It's not so good, and you still look at the score, losing by 7 points with that many mistakes. If we didn't make those mistakes, who knows what might have happened in that ball game. But again, just on the fumble recovery for a touchdown, again, we didn't make the block right properly. The back didn't catch the ball the first time, so he's kind of bobbling as he's getting into his, after catch after the run, or the run after the catch, and mistakes, and then they'll kill you in these type of games.
You touched on special teams a little bit. I thought they were pretty special when you consider how that was in week 1. That was a lot of talk, and we talked about it on the show. But I thought, from the kicking game, kickoffs were better height on the ball, and you got good coverage. You kind of made them drive some long fields. Punting game improved, and got a big field goal right there before halftime, a pressure kick to give you the 7-point lead at halftime. I thought that was an area which your team got a lot better. Other special teams was really good. That's exciting to see.
Yeah, it is, and that week 1's always kind of crazy with special teams. Kind of a lot of these kids getting their feet wet for the first time, in this conference and playing for us. That's hard to do with the expectations that they've had on them from past kickers or punters or whatever we might have in the past. But they did a great job. Our coverage guys did a great job of getting downfield and making the tackles, and then changing some field position was great.
We'd love to give you some of the numbers of some of the Tigers. We do need to know there are still no stats from that game. It was a rough night for the stat crew in Missouri Western, so we're still waiting for the official game stats. But Soto had another big game. We mentioned Hunter Butke having a big game, but just too many turnovers, 4 turnovers, and that's probably been, 7 for the season in 2 games. Obviously, that's an area. And you look at. Traditionally, you've always been on the plus side, but usually you get a lot of points off of turnovers, and that's a big hole right now.
Yeah, it is, and that's something we stress week in and week out. Offensively, we cannot turn the ball over, and defensively, we need to get some more turnovers, to help the offense out. But, they are getting some turnovers, and we're giving it right back to them. And so those are things we got to eliminate. But, again, those are things that are so correctable. If our kids would just do the things that they need to and get on the same page and understand, that this game's not about them, but it's about their team. I think things will be all right for us.
The Tigers, still a lot of football to go, and I guess it's not uncharted territory. You just go back to the last season you had, 2019. You started 0-2 with a disappointing loss at home to Missouri Western, and then you didn't win out. You lost that thriller in double overtime to Northwest, but you got in a position to still reach all of your goals, and that's kind of where you're at right now. You can still attain those, and you can't probably look at it as we have to win out. You have to win Saturday, and then if you can do that, you win the next Saturday. Break it down one game at a time.
And that's it. If you look too far ahead, the kids start losing focus and thinking about, some of these other teams that we got to play, but right now we got to play the Lincoln Blue Tigers, and they're going to come to town wanting to beat us, and so we got to be at our best, and we got to really clean some things up, because if we play like we have the last 2 weeks, it's going to be a terrible game for us. I mean, because they're going to capitalize on some of those opportunities that we give them and give us a tough go. But they're a good football team, and we'll see what happens.
Tiger Talk brought to you by Adams Brown. They do more than just run numbers and file tax returns. They work hard to become strategic allies. Adams Brown, strategic allies, and CPAs. We will take our final break. When we come back, we'll preview Saturday night's game with the Blue Tigers of Lincoln when we return to the Golden Q. Home of Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
Okechukwu and Ramsey to the left, Birchfield and Butke back into the right. There's the snap, 3rd and 10. The pass is going to be caught. Okechukwu has it to the 5. He's in. Touchdown, Fort Hays State. Josh Okechukwu, the Washington, D.C. transfer out of Nassau Community College, has his first career Tiger touchdown, and it's 38-30 with 4:41 to go in the game. That was set up by a big Hunter Butke catch that, had they not just had a piece of the jersey, he may have busted it, but it got it down inside the red zone, and then Josh Okechukwu was able to get his first Tiger score. He's another big body receiver, and I'm sure anytime you have a transfer, it takes a little while to get comfortable in the feel for everything, but seems to have all the physical attributes to be a really good one again.
He has them all. He's a big kid, he's a strong kid, he's got really good speed as well, and hopefully we get to see more of that, in these upcoming weeks. But again, it's a young man that came in here from a junior college transfer, and still trying to figure out our offense and how things work, and it takes time. When you're getting thrown thousands of plays at one time, it all kind of starts to run together a little bit, but over time he'll get it. Just got to make sure we know what he's doing and do the things that he can do and the things that he does well, and that was a good play for him in that game. Hopefully that's just the first of many for him, because I think it could be a real weapon for us.
Well, the Lincoln Blue Tigers come to town, and as of now, everything's a go. They had their game with Northwest on Thursday night canceled, a no contest due to some COVID concerns with the Blue Tiger team, and as of Saturday anyway, they said they're a go, so hopefully that continues. But in a way, I say a scary game in the sense that they have struggled. They gave up 72 to Washburn and just got pounded, but yet you're in no position to look past anybody at 0-2.
No, we don't, and especially the way we've played the last 2 weeks. But there has been some really bright spots with what we've done offensively and defensively, and with our special teams, but there's still a lot of things that we have to get cleaned up before we can feel confident about anything. And this is a team that they've had 2 weeks to really kind of prepare for us. They've had our game film from Northwest, and they're able to watch that and start breaking it down and getting ready for this game as well, and trying to figure out some things that they want to do to us offensively and defensively. So we'll see. They're a good team. They got some guys that are returning and have played a lot, and they got a lot of young kids as well, and they have some transfers. So you never know when a team might put it all together, and hopefully it's not this week, but you never know. And the way we played, we got to clean things up, or it's going to be a rough one.
The Franklin kid, a running back, with Hosea Franklin, 5'7", 190, not a huge dude, but he was one of the top running backs. I think led the conference in yardage, but he could play and start for anybody in this league.
Yeah, I'll take it. He's a good football player. He runs well. He runs physical. He runs hard. He gets out in the open. He's got a chance to break it. So he's one of those kids that we got to get our hands on him and gang tackle him and run our feet, make sure we get him down, because he's a tremendous football player.
And they're a type of team that, we've seen it. Some years they've been better than others, but it seems like they've got collectively a lot of talent. They just can never. One, they have a hard time keeping coaches long enough, but just to build whatever they can to be playing well as a unit. But individually, they have some incredibly good talent, and enough to where if you kind of said you catch them on the wrong night, when it kind of clicks together, they can be a loadful.
They could be, and then and that's on both sides of the ball, not just one side of it. And with some of the kids they have coming in that we haven't seen before, they do things well, and if they put it together, they'll be a scary bunch. But we got to take care of ourselves and worry about Fort Hays State right now and getting ourselves better, and not so much about Lincoln.
Sounds good, Coach. We appreciate it. Dustin will be on the call this Saturday night, filling in for me for a 6 o'clock Auto World pregame, 7 o'clock kick. Have a great week of practice, and go get those Blue Tigers.
Thanks, George.
Chris Brown, coach of the Fort Hays State Tigers, and that's going to wrap it up for Tiger Talk here today. The program brought to you by BTI, The Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Hayes Orthopedic Institute, Golden Belt Brink, and Adams Brown. We're, of course, live at the Golden Q, 2 blocks east of campus. The Golden Q, if the game's on, they're open. We'll see you back here next Monday, 12:15 until 1. It's Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.